In this demonstration we're going to be mainly using the Live, Laugh, Love stamp set from IndigoBlu, and we're also going to be using just one of the stamps from the Nottingham Lace. So we're starting off by, I've got a piece of craft card here, and I've cut a masking sheet using one of Phil Martin's double deboss rounded corner rectangles, and I've popped it onto my piece of craft card already. And we're going to be using the Broken China Distress Oxide, and I'm just going to apply colour to the centre here. Broken China seems to be my favourite colour at the moment for some unknown reason. It is beautiful blue though. So with your masks, you'll find that you'll be able to use them for a few times. If you always put them back onto the carry sheet, obviously at some point they're going to lose their sticky. I've used this one once before, and it's certainly fine for this time too. Obviously around the edges where I'm catching with the tool, it might not be 100% perfect anymore because that's where it's losing its stick. Of course, the beauty of cutting a masking sheet with the die is that you've also got that central mask as well to use, so you can you know, just create a background around a very clean area. So that's my Broken China all done. And we're going to actually we'll leave the mask in place just for a minute, and I'm going to just put some water into my hand. And I'm gonna, this is I don't flick, I tend to clap over the surface. Don't know why, but I just do. I want a little bit in the top. Makes me happy clapping anyway. Happy clappy. Just leave it to set for a minute, and the water bleaches out the Distress Oxide because it reacts with water, as does regular Distress ink as well. So just going to pop that on to dry it, and then that'll stop the movement. It will move a little bit more. Hopefully you can just about see where it's bleaching out. And now we're going to remove the mask. And we've got those very clean edges. Remove it carefully and I'll be able to use it again. To one side. Okay, so now we're going to, it's not 100%, nothing I do is 100% safe, straight ever. Wanted to do a border down here which will hopefully disguise the fact that it's not that straight. But I'm just going to give it a quick blast because I'm going to do some stamping and embossing, and as this dries, hopefully you can see that it increases the bleaching out a little bit more. Now normally I would just leave it to dry naturally because then you don't get any warping of the card. Turn it over and do it from the other side. And grab my anti-static bag. Give it a good dust. I'm only going to dust down this bottom area here. That's where I'm going to be stamping. And we're going to use this lovely long border from the Nottingham Lace. In fact, what I'll do is I won't use a block. I'll use my Stamp Perfect, and then I can actually make sure I get it in the right place and hopefully straight-ish. So when you're using your Stamp Perfect and a bone mounted stamp, you need to remove the foam. Pop it down here. I'm going to put my magnets up here. And let's see, we'll have it that way up, I think. I don't think there's a right or a wrong, we'll have it that way. And we'll pop it about there. In fact, because I'm going to be covering that area up, I might move it slightly over to the left more, so I've got more design there, which is slightly different to how I did it originally. the lid, and then we'll start inking. I'll try not to tap too much. I've discovered that when I tap, the camera shakes, so apologies if it shakes a little bit. So this is the Wow embossing pad. It's moved. I think I've got some that way. I think I've got some of the anti-static bag on the back of my stamp. So as I've inked it, I'm going to just press down. Really good press, because it's a very, very detailed stamp. You can see the watermark there already. The magnets out of the way, and we'll add our powder. So I'm going to be using some of Phil Martin's Pure White embossing powder for that pop of white along the edge. If a good flick, you can see because I've anti-staticked, we've got a perfect image there. Back in. Give it a blast. Isn't that pretty? It's a beautiful, beautiful stamp, as you'd expect from IndigoBlu. Okay, so that's my stamping and embossing. Now I'm going to add a little dragonfly in the set. We're still working on the Live, Laugh, Love, and I'm going to stamp him in Oxide and Versafine Clair. And it's only when you get a really good quality ink pad like this that you really realise how detailed this stamp is. You can't see the detail when you just ink it up, but when we pop it down here, have him flying in here, give him a good press, work the ink bond. Look at that. I'll hold it up for you so you can see. Look at the detail in that. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Now remember, with Versafine Clair, the ink stays open for a little while, so you could actually stamp and emboss that if you wanted to. So there's the start of our background. I'm just going to put that to one side to dry for a little while, and I'm going to be stamping some extra elements on a piece of super smooth card from Pink Frog. Just going to dust that with my anti-static bag. You find quite a few anti-static bags around. This is a Sentimentally Yours one. Go back to my Nocturne, and we're going to stamp some more elements from the Live, Laugh, Love. I've got the rose leaf here. All these are going to be cut out. And we're also going to stamp the large, I think it's an old-fashioned rose. Work quite quickly. Sorry, I'm tapping again, aren't I? Making the camera shake. Sorry. I get carried away. So I'm going to stamp this one. Bigger stamp, so I'm going to give it a good old press. Again, make the camera go. And then finally we're going to do the bird. Try and tap more gently. I've got dirty blocks. these. Look at the detail on those. Look at that bird and the rose leaf and the flower. So let's add some of the IndigoBlu Clear Embossing Glaze to this. Oh, doesn't matter, it's all going to go back in the pot. This is a 60ml pot, and in your kit you get some unicorn sparkles, which is the beautiful fine glitter, and you also get the magic sparkle, which is like a boost for your luscious powders, which we'll look at in a little while. Give that a heat set. And it is an ultra-fine powder. Give that a flip. It's an ultra-fine powder, so it means that the powder won't stick to the image that's the white space, and because of that, it means that when you actually come to do the colouring in, you're going to be able to colour in all the areas that you need to. When you're embossing, just follow the images around. You'll see it's quite quick and it's detailed. Beautiful bright black images there to colour in a moment. I'm just going to go back to my background and start a little bit of stamping, then I'm going to leave you guys for a couple of minutes. Got a scrap piece of card, so side by side, and this is where I'm going to dip into the Nottingham lace stamp set, and this is where do I want it on that? Put it on that side of my block. This is just a sentiment that just says best wishes lots of times. Turn over my scrap card. I'll just stamp it for you so you can see properly, because I'm going to do second generation, and I'm using the Morning Mist Versafine Clair for this. So I'll show you my first generation on here. See if I can get it up the right way. Yeah. So there's our best wishes stamp. Really good detail on that. And all I'm going to do is stamp it second generation around the edges. So you see it's very, very light. So constantly first generation on here and then second generation on here. Doesn't have to be perfect. All we're doing is building a frame. Now what I could do is I could put my other mask on the top there and not go over the edges, but I do quite like the movement that you get from actually stamping it into your background. I like that. So I'm going to continue stamping around the edge just in the same way, and I'm also going to cut out my images and we'll come back and do a little bit of colouring. Okay, so I've finished doing my stamping around the edges, and I've also just applied a little bit of the broken china just around the edge too. So my background's all done now already. I'm just going to prop that underneath my board to flatten out, and I've cut out my elements here ready to colour in. Oh, my little birdie's running away. So we start with the leaf, and I'm using a palette, and I've got my Luscious Powders in here. And to use your Luscious Powders, this is the green. Let's tap that down a little bit. You just take a damp brush, pick up some Luscious and add it into your palette. I know that the one I'm going into here has got the green in it already. Add a little bit more water and then mix it in really, really well. And also I'm waking up the colour from underneath. The more water you add, just standard watercolour techniques, obviously the paler it's going to be, but you don't want it particularly thick. And then to paint my leaf, I don't need to be particularly careful. Let's just move that out of the way, because the embossed lines will repel the luscious, and you still get that beautiful image underneath. I'm not going to worry about any shading. I don't tend to when I use this kind of product. all the work's done for you already with the stamp. Quite easy to do. And other leaves. Keeping your luscious powder in a palette is a really good practice, really. You can label the palette, you know, on the clear side, on the lid, as to what colours are underneath, but you do get to know your luscious powders, and you do get to know which colours which, and of course you can actually mix them and make your own colours, which we are going to do too. There's our leaf done very quickly. Then we're going to go on to our rose. I'm sure it's an old-fashioned rose. And I think on the original one I used Cheeky Peach. I think what we'll do is we'll bring in, let's move that out of the way, we'll bring in some of the Buttercup. So we'll have a yellow rose. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a sparkle too. So add some of our, that's quite a lot there. I'm never worried if I put quite a lot in, because I know that if I'm keeping it in my palette, then I'm going to be able to use it for, well, as long as it's still there, really, because I just regenerate it each time with some water. So that's my beautiful Buttercup. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to add some of our Magic Sparkle. Now, Magic Sparkle is a bit of a boost for your luscious, because it does give it a sparkle as well as a shimmer. So I'm going to add some of that. I have a reasonable amount of that, I think. And add some more water. And it does lighten it ever so slightly, because if you do actually paint it onto certainly black card, then you can see that it's kind of got an underlying sort of white hue to it. So this is what we're going to paint our rose with. Move that out of my way. In fact, I might just go a little bit more water. Okay, and then just pop that on there. You see how the embossing powder is repelling. Don't worry about it too much, because it doesn't always move straight away. Sometimes it just pops off afterwards. Again, I'm not worried about being particularly neat. If I want to just take some of that off, I can do with my finger. When this dries, this will have a sparkle to it as well as a shimmer. I think I need a little bit more water. It's drying quite quickly because my heating's on. If it's too wet, just either move it around or blot it off. You can always come in and add a little bit more. I think that's good. All covered. Okay, so we'll put that aside to dry for a minute. It won't take long. And we go on to our birdie. Now for the bird, I'm going to use some verdigris. I've already got verdigris in my pan here. I think this is the verdigris. I'm sure it is. Yeah. And I'm going to mix a little bit more in, because I want a little bit more. The verdigris is green on black card, as you'd expect. Bit more water. Okay, so I'm going to do his tummy in this. I don't know what sort. I think it looks like a sparrow, this bird. I'm sure it is. But the thing is, when you stamp, you can do a tropical bird if you want to. It doesn't have to be true, does it? You know, you're in charge of whatever it looks like. And we've got his little legs coming down here. Like that. There we go. And I'm going to, for his beak, I'm going to use gold. mix. I've already got gold in here. See how easy it is to regenerate. There's his beak. And we want a little bit of our green on the branch because I think it's a spring branch. We're going to say it's new foliage, so it's all green. It's not all brown from the winter. I'm going to add that in there. And then we need to add a little bit to his back. This is where I'm going to mix my own colour. I've already started down here. I'll bend that back now, I can't. Hopefully you can see down here I've already started. So what I've got in here is I've got some gold already. Let's just regenerate that. So let's just show you what I did. We've got some gold. Pop that in. And see, that's lightened it. Then we're going to take some blackbird, which is obviously black. Because if I just coloured it in black, you'd lose you wouldn't see the definition of the lines necessarily. So I'm now adding black to my gold. So it's not black, it's a lighter black. So there'll be a contrast with his feathers. I'll have to turn that round, sorry. Otherwise I can't get to where I'm painting. A little bit more water in there. And we're going to just stamp, colour in his wings and his tail. And the top of his head. I don't know what colour eyes birds have. You never get close enough to look, do you? So let's just use a little bit of our green because it's already wet. Okay, so there's our birdie, all coloured in. So now we can construct our card. Grab my background from underneath here. And we're going to, I'm not going to stick it down, I'm just going to show you what we do. I'm aware of time here. So mat that onto black card and onto a piece of the white card. Move it down so you can see. Then for construction, I'm going to give, it's not 100% dry yet. So I might just show you where we're going. So we're going to have our leaf here and our flower here, and then our birdie is going to just sit behind there with a piece of foam, and he's going to sit like that. Then I've got the in the Live Laugh Love there's a couple of sentiments, and I've stamped both of them and cut them out and just taken the main words and trimmed them down and just edge with a little bit of the broken china. This is all what was left on my tool after doing the central area. So what we can do is I'm going to position them roughly where I want them. So we'll have, if you've got any bad bits of stamping, you can cover these up. So we could have live, laugh, love, perhaps have it slightly different to how I had it before, and breathe. Let's do it like that. Let's stick that down. So I want to show you the next bit. I can stick all the main pieces down afterwards. So where did I have that? I had that around just about there, didn't I? Hopefully it's straight-ish. Everything's straightish, isn't it? Artistic license to not put it down straight. Live, laugh. We all need a little bit of this. We need a little bit of all of this at the moment. In fact, I might do him slightly over to the left. Change my mind. Live, laugh. There, I think. Love. And we're going to just, we'll tuck breathe. I know the leaves aren't stuck yet, but we'll tuck breathe just underneath the leaf there like that. So I like that. Then, just to finish off, pretend everything's stuck. I'm going to grab a Pigma Micron pen, and I want the 05. And I'm just going to do a little bit of mark making. Now this is not always in your comfort zone, and you're best off just really going for it and not trying to be neat or anything. So remember, these are going to move. Let's just move those out of the way because they're going to move, aren't they? And I'll bring them in a minute. So just scrubbing around. That's what I'm doing with the pen, just to frame my words. Oop. And don't try and do it really neatly, because if you do it neatly, it's going to look not as good as if you try not to. And then I'm going to just add some squiggles. Off the edge. I'm really not really thinking about it, except that I know I want squiggles. Then when we bring our chappies back in again, that's going to go underneath the leaf there, and he will sit just kind of like that. And there we go.